My sister dumped her kids on me without warning and expected me to watch them for 2 whole months while she jet set off on vacation. When I refused and threatened to take action, she orchestrated a vicious attack on me in my own home, just so she could swoop in and reclaim her precious children. It's a cruel irony that the pampered child often turns out to be a far cry from the golden ideal their parents envisioned. My sister always managed to get her way, no matter how cruel or unreasonable she was towards me. Our parents spoiled her rotten, and her stunning looks, luscious curls, and piercing light eyes undoubtedly contributed to her favorite status. Growing up, my mom would constantly compare our appearances, and I always came up short. With my dark eyes and straight hair, I was the plain sister, while she was the beauty queen. Mom would offer backhanded compliments, suggesting I emulate my sister's style and begging her to share her makeup secrets with me. But whenever I took her up on the offer, my sister would mock me mercilessly. This toxic dynamic bred a deep-seated resentment between us. I think my sister internalized our mom's worst traits, while I rebelled against them. Being treated like a princess her whole life, my sister developed a sense of entitlement that knows no bounds. She's convinced she can get away with anything, and our parents enable her at every turn. The constant barrage of criticism and comparisons took a toll on my self-esteem. As an adult, I'm introverted and hesitant, and people often mistake me for a doormat. I've recently started therapy to build my confidence and learn to stand up for myself. My family's dysfunctional dynamics have made it tough for me to form healthy relationships. My sister even stole my boyfriend in high school, and our parents brushed it off, telling me to forgive and forget. They never held her accountable, and I realized then just how much they favored her over me. My dad's failure to intervene when mom belittled me made me feel like I'd never find someone to stand up for me or appreciate my worth. This makes it hard for me to trust others or form meaningful connections. Despite everything, I managed to find some success. Being the ugly sister meant I had no social life, so I channeled all my energy into my studies. I graduated high school with a perfect GPA and landed a full scholarship at my dream university. This was a huge accomplishment, especially since mom had told me she'd foot the bill for my sister's education but not mine. When I shared the news with my parents, Dad offered a half-hearted, "good job," but Mom didn't even acknowledge me. She ignored me for an entire week, and when I tried to ask her what was wrong, she dodged the question and walked away. I didn't understand why my mom had me, only to spend a lifetime hating me and making me hate myself. The day I got my scholarship turned into one of the worst days of my life. As I cried myself to sleep, I accepted that I would never have a family that loved me like my sister did, and I despised her for it. That night, I wrote in my journal until the sun rose about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I was tired of being a sad little girl, and I decided to transform every ounce of rage I had into academic success. Instead of throwing a pity party and begging my parents for love and attention, I redirected my focus and energy to my studies. I gave myself something they never could: stability, independence, intelligence, and education. As I grew older, I achieved great things. I graduated with honors, landed a fantastic job, and started making six figures by the time I was 23. When I came home for the holidays, extended family members would occasionally compliment me, but my parents never acknowledged or congratulated me on my accomplishments. My mom's behavior towards me didn't change, even as an adult. She would do everything in her power to shift the attention away from me, especially when others asked me questions or showed interest in my life. One Christmas dinner, my uncle congratulated me on a promotion, and my mom cut me off, saying, "This is boring. Can we change the conversation?" Under her breath, I heard her say, "It's probably not even true anyway." I knew my mom's behavior was rooted in her favoritism towards my sister. My sister had gone to college, gotten pregnant, and tried to make it work with her incompatible partner. Meanwhile, I had worked hard to achieve success on my own terms. I suspected my mom resented me for it. My sister and I didn't have a good relationship. She would make nasty comments about my weight, clothes, and lifestyle. One Thanksgiving, she looked me up and down and said, "I see you're dressed up again like the stuck-up bitch you are." Her insults were relentless, even in front of her kids. When my sister dumped her kids on my doorstep without warning, I was shocked. She claimed she was going on an 8-week vacation and expected me to care for them. I refused, knowing I had my own life and plans. I threatened to call CPS, and she blackmailed me, threatening to get me fired by making false accusations about my mental health. I was trapped and didn't know what to do. My mom sided with my sister, guilt-tripping me into taking care of the kids. I stood up to her, demanding to know why my sister was abandoning her children. My mom revealed that my sister was being flown out by a sugar daddy, which made me realize just how toxic our family dynamics were. The situation escalated, and my mom's behavior became more aggressive. She pushed me into a coffee table, breaking a vase and triggering a mental breakdown. I screamed at her to leave, and she eventually did, but not before hurling insults and threats. As I dealt with the aftermath, I realized I had to prioritize my own well-being and the well-being of my nephews. I decided to follow my boyfriend's advice and record a conversation with my sister to gather evidence of her threats. Despite the stress and uncertainty, I found moments of joy with my nephews, playing video games and laughing together. I knew I had to take action to protect myself and my nephews. I recorded the conversation with my sister, which would later prove crucial in my battle against her. I was determined to give my nephews the love, care, and stability they deserved, and I was willing to fight for it. My life was turned upside down when my sister dumped her kids on me and expected me to care for them indefinitely. When I refused, she orchestrated a vicious smear campaign, trying to ruin my reputation and livelihood. But I was prepared, thanks to my boyfriend's advice. I recorded our phone conversation, where she threatened to make false accusations against me. This evidence would later prove crucial in my battle to protect my nephews. As I spent more time with my nephews, I realized they were struggling under my sister's care. They were happy and carefree when with me, but I knew they deserved better. When my sister threatened to sabotage my job, I knew I had to act. I contacted Child Protective Services, CPS, and they launched an investigation into my sister's fitness as a parent. The situation escalated quickly. My sister, accompanied by a massive man, stormed into my home, assaulting me and snatching my nephews away. I was left shaken, but I immediately called the police, providing them with the license plate number of the SUV they drove off in. The authorities were able to track them down, and my sister was arrested after a violent confrontation with the officers. As the investigation continued, I learned that my nephews would be placed in protective care. I decided to pursue custody, knowing it wouldn't be easy. But I was determined to give my nephews the stable, loving home they deserved. The court battle was grueling, but I was resolute. Meanwhile, my sister's behavior in court was erratic and violent. She attacked me in the courtroom, leaving me with a nasty bite wound. This incident sealed her fate, and she was eventually sentenced to life in prison. With my sister out of the picture, I finally had a chance to build a life with my nephews. After a long and challenging custody battle, I was granted full custody. The day my nephews came home to me was one of the happiest days of my life. They smiled, hugged me tightly, and told me how much they had missed me. I knew I had made the right decision in fighting for them, and I was determined to give them the love, care, and stability they deserved.